Okay, wow. All right, we got big news from WBN is reporting that Anthony Joshua versus Wilder, details emerging on the date, venue, and pay-per-view as the UK loses a grip on the undisputed clash. So it is looking like, according to this report, that the fight between Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua is heading towards the December timeframe and for Las Vegas. Who would have known? Big money in Las Vegas is reporting to be winning out over a fight in the UK. Anthony Joshua is set to agree to agree to a massive heavyweight collision with Deontay Wilder in 2018, but seems increasingly likely to be headed for a stateside bout against the American puncher. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Let's see what happens, because of course, you know, these things tend to be a thing that happens in the process. But I know that Eddie Hearn was really trying to push for this fight to be in the UK, but that $50 million straight up cash offer got Anthony Joshua saying, hold on, man, two in the hand is worth two. One in the hand is worth two in the bush. So I hope that this is true. This is good. This is good news for the fight that most boxing fans are really looking forward to. And so if this is the case, I'm extremely happy. Definitely going to do a live stream on this a little bit later. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon. And that way you'll be able to be notified of when we do the live stream on this topics, because this is really exciting news. I also want to thank everybody in the super chat that supports the channel. And, you know, thank you very much. Shout out to all the members of the LDBC that collaborate with the channel. We definitely appreciate you. So let me get into this article and talk about it. Yeah, man. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Despite Eddie Hearn's attempts to take the bout to Wembley Stadium to give Joshua home advantage, Wilder's $50 million offer will insist the undisputed clash is staged in the USA. WBN also understands a summer fight is off the table as both sides aim for a date in November or December, with the T-Mobile Arena in Vegas the front runner and ideal venue as things can currently stand. Wembley was thought to be in the offing for a July or August encounter before a rematch in Nevada by the end of the year, although the time constraints and money matters have put that option to bed. This new timeline of several months will give the promoters from Matchroom and Premier Boxing Channel champions, along with pay-per-view operators at Showtime, ample time to promote sales for what will be the biggest heavyweight contest held on U.S. soil since Lennox Lewis versus Vitaly Klitschko back in 2003. Gate receipts from what is expected to be a pricey event, coupled with possible pay-per-view price tag of around $50, is expected to help Team Wilder raise the minimum $50 million promised Joshua in the run-up to negotiations. Extra revenue will be added from worldwide sales, and should still see Wilder walk away with an 8-figure sum with no questions asked. It's a calculated risk by Wilder in his bid to take all the belts back to his homeland for the first time since Evander Holyfield reigned supreme following his double triumph over Mike Tyson in the late 90s. Wilder is banking on adding Joshua's 4 championships to his WBC version and become a household name in his native land and an immediate pay-per-view headliner into the bargain. Showtime are already planning for the eventuality that the winner will then feature solely on the paid platform, with defenses against Alexander Povetkin, Dominic Breazeale, and Kubrat Pulev in the pipeline. The imminent deal will be a blow to the United Kingdom market, which has dominated boxing's big money deals in the top division of late and could see the U.S. wrestle control away should Joshua fail to overcome Wilder. Effectively, everything is on the line for Joshua and his promoter Hearn, with Wilder having to defeat Joshua twice in succession in order to fully take the crown from the current heavyweight ruler. Taking any rematch back to the UK in 2019 is also not a given, with Las Vegas the most lucrative option to stage back-to-back battles between the pair of KO artists. That is huge. Sorry, UK. Sorry for you. I've said this and I've said this before. Now, of course, this is a report, right? So it's not etched down in stone. But to go through this, I've said this before. The money is in Vegas. The money for big fights is in the United States. I'm sorry to tell that to you guys not even most UK fans, because most of the UK fans that come to the channel and comment act like they got sense, and they realize that pay-per-views are much higher in the United States. This is rumored to be $50 a pay-per-view, which is actually a good deal compared to many of the other pay-per-views that are offered in the United States. And also, the ticket prices for the fight are going to be huge, and you can do $30 million, $40 million in just the gate alone. To make that guaranteed $50 million that Anthony Joshua is going to get paid. So, in either way it goes, the UK, you can look forward to losing Anthony Joshua if he wins, and losing Anthony Joshua if he loses. Because either way it goes, the next two fights, if he beats Anthony Joshua, if Anthony Joshua loses to Deontay Wilder, then he's going to have a rematch clause. That rematch clause more than likely is going to have him in Las Vegas for the rematch. And because Shelly Finkel's not stupid, and neither is Al Heyman, more than likely Deontay Wilder is going to get a rematch clause as well. Because when you put up $50 million, you get a rematch clause. And if he's going to make $50 million and he's able to beat Deontay Wilder, then hey, why wouldn't he take a rematch? That type of money in back-to-back fights, hey, it can definitely happen. So this is exciting. And I gotta evaluate it and look at it from several point of views. On one is, what is going to happen in the fight. I favor Deontay Wilder to win the fight. This is definitely a better venue for Deontay Wilder to fight in than going over there to the UK. For certain, it's better than him going over to the UK, especially the way that those fights had been reffed. Anthony Joshua's fights have been reffed, the last two in the UK. The first one being that ridiculous stoppage that took place with Carlos Takam. And then where it's Carlos Takam, I think it was stopped in the 11th round off of two punches it landed. And when Carlos Takam got wobbled, the ref runs in and stops the fight. That was completely and utterly out of hand, in my opinion. Right? So that was the first incident in where the ref in the UK, I believe, was really looking out for Anthony Joshua. The second one was in a very good and a very competitive fight with Joseph Parker when Anthony Joshua was unifying the WBA belt, the IBF belt, and the WBO belt, where you could clearly see the referee preventing any type of inside fighting. Also, Anthony Joshua getting hit, looking at his hand, taking his own time out, and walking over to the corner to get his hand wrapped in the middle of a round, right? Then what I thought was a much closer fight than the scorecards indicated. Now, I thought that Anthony Joshua won that fight, but the scorecards, in my opinion, that was I thought those were lopsided. So the fact that the fight would be in the United States, I think that is something that has a potential to neutralize that. It also has an ability to neutralize the crowd, because sometimes I think that the cheering of the cheering of fans can affect a judge, right? And in the UK, I'm sure every punch that especially in them big gigantic stadiums, every punch that looks like it might land from Anthony Joshua, you're going to have a lot of you're going to have a lot of screams and shouts from Anthony Joshua fans that might lead reasonable people to assume that a punch landed, right? But so that it really does equalize that playing field. It would also be the first time that Anthony Joshua's ever traveled outside of the United Kingdom for a professional fight, right? I've said this before that he's never fought out of the UK, and I'll inevitably have somebody tell me that he fought outside of the UK in the amateurs. I'm not talking about the amateurs. I'm talking about whether or not he's fought outside the United States, outside of the United Kingdom in a professional environment. So he's also going to be fighting in a lot smaller, compact venue. So, and in a venue the size that Deontay Wilder's used to fighting in. So it also would take away the advantage that Anthony Joshua would have being used to, a venue that is fighting in a stadium. Because going over to the UK for Deontay Wilder, I would say that would be something that he would have to get used to pretty quickly, because we don't fight in football stadiums. We don't fight in soccer. We call it soccer. UK calls it football, but we don't fight. Boxers don't fight in soccer stadiums here. So that could be very well something that he would have to adjust to. Now, in a smaller venue, which I believe was in Sheffield, Errol Spence Jr. overcame that against Kell Brook. But, it was still something that Errol Spence Jr. in retrospect said, that there was a lot of pressure added from going on over there to do that. So this takes a lot of pressure off of Deontay Wilder. It also makes me I'm glad that I did the video. It's been a while since I've said anything critical of Anthony Joshua. Because when Anthony Joshua came into the and did a video in a car, and he said that he's not interested in a Povetkin fight next. He wants to fight Deontay Wilder. And so that's the fight that they're pushing to be made, and that there was only a certain, few details that were left to be worked out. One of them, he said, was where the fight was going to be, who gets promotional rights, and all of those type of things. And if this report is true, and again, now this is one of the rare incidents that I will actually put a link in the description box, because I found, and I don't do that, not like I have an issue citing my sources, but really it's more irritating for me to have somebody tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about, and then I write a note and say, oh, look at the articles in the description box. And they didn't watch the whole video, and they definitely didn't read the description box. So instead of just, deleting their comment and moving on, I would say, check the description, check the article in the description box. But for this one, I'm more than likely going to do it if I can remember that. So, man, my hat's off. If this is the truth, it's another reason for me to be more encouraged about Anthony Joshua. Because if Anthony Joshua is willing to come over to the United States and fight Deontay Wilder in the United States, that shows you, hey, man, this dude's got a couple marbles rolling around up in the top of his head. There were some reports about Eddie Hearn offering a $100 million offer over 3 fights for Anthony Joshua. It was a 3-fight deal, 100 million pounds, right? Which is more than $100 million, right? But it's less than it would have been per fight, right? Because I think it's 36 million. I think it's 36 million pounds or something like that. So it's a $6 million, $4 million pound, and difference between what he would get for Deontay Wilder versus whatever he would have, Eddie Hearn would have him fight. Now, I don't know if this affects that deal or not, right? Whether this is one of the fights in the deal that Anthony Joshua was signing, I don't know. But whatever the case is, Anthony Joshua's mama got to be real happy. And Anthony Joshua's just about in the best situation that a boxer could possibly be in. To make $50 million or whatever, 36 million pounds, but I'm in the United States, so I'll use dollar to make $50 million for a fight. One fight is just absolute. We are guaranteed that money. There's never been a heavyweight boxer that has had that big a guarantee. And I did a video and I would say this dude would be the craziest. This would be the biggest mistake in heavyweight boxing history if he did not take that money. But that money has to be for a fight in the United States. Has to be. Has to be. Because just like the article said, they've got to be able to make that money back. They've got to be able to cover it. And if they said, look, we guarantee you if you show up, hey, even if we break even, right? If they break even, then Deontay Wilder doesn't get paid. But this one is at least a 10-figure, what do you say, at least an 8-figure payday for Deontay Wilder. No questions asked. That's a $10 million fight, right? That's at least $10 million. That's at least $10 million for them. At least $10 million for him. I don't know whether that's $15 million, $16 million or whatever. But again, it said extra revenue will then be added up from worldwide sales and should still see Wilder walk away with an 8-figure sum with no questions asked. So that's right. Anthony Joshua gets a major financial A-side pay-per-view pay, right? Where he's going to walk away with 50. Deontay Wilder, who knows, is 50 of whatever it winds up being. A $50 pay-per-view price to me seems a little bit low, but hey, man, they might really be trying to go and make sure that people can afford it and not really try to overprice it just to make sure that they get that million pay-per-view. Because at $50 million, if they can get 1 million pay-per-views at $50 a pop, that's $50 million right there. You get a gate. The gate for Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder is probably going to be $30 million. And then you get world TV rights. Hey, man, Deontay Wilder might wind up being a $20 million payday for Deontay Wilder. So I think that's a situation where it's a win-win for absolutely everybody. The only people that lose in this scenario, are the Eddie Hearn fans. Are the Eddie Hearn fans that wanted to act for so long, because you got to have, this goes through in December, this is true, then what you got to do, you have to do, is eat your crow. Because we told you that the money is in the United States. That eventually Anthony Joshua is going to be coming to the United States. Eddie Hearn is damn near trying to move to the United States and sign fighters and do all that. And who knows see, if Eddie Hearn is a smart guy, then Eddie Hearn would just strike a deal with the PBC. That's all he needs to do. Eddie Hearn is in a situation promoting Anthony Joshua where Eddie Hearn's going to get a nice amount of money. All these fighters that Eddie Hearn wants to sign in order to make matchroom boxing in the U.S. successful are with the PBC. And instead of trying to sign all these guys to exclusive promotional deals, he could partner with the PBC and do one-offs and let guys from the PBC fight on DAZN and then fight the major ones, fight the major card fights on Showtime or whatever that type of deal is. And they could work out and negotiate a nice deal, man. And maybe that is what Eddie Hearn is doing, where he's trying to, aim for the, talk a big game, aim for the stars, land in the clouds and be okay. But the YouTube troll channels, y'all got to eat one on this one. You're going to have to, if this comes true, and I'm saying this is a report, if this comes to fruition, then you just got to say, I'm sorry. The $50 million, because all of that nonsense goes out the window. The $50 million was real. The big money is in the United States. Anthony Joshua is coming to the United States. And you might just have to go back to being having a very, very good, a great domestic boxing scene. Have a scattering of world-class fighters that fight in the UK until they're really ready to step up and jump on the world stage. And when they jump on that world stage, that big money stage, they come over to the United States, fight one-off fights, just like Ricky Hatton, just like Lennox Lewis, just like Amir Khan, and now just like Anthony Joshua. It is what it is. And with that, I'm out. Peace.